Hello, my sisters and brothers. Welcome to the Founding Mothers May Connect Fest. My name is Laura George, and I'm a member of the Founding Mothers Peace Room, representing the justice and governance sector. Today, our Connect Fest will focus on our current campaign. Can you tell I'm excited? The Red Tent Ceremony and Strike. In 1997, a book called The Red Tent was released, and it revived the female collective consciousness around a critical coming-of-age ceremony that most cultures have lost. The book is a fictionalized story about Dinah, the daughter of Jacob in the Old Testament. And Jacob was the grandson of Abraham, the first prophet of the Jewish and Muslim faiths. In their red tent, Dinah and the other women of Jacob's tribe would have a week of rest during their moon time. But what the men didn't know is that the women were worshiping the ancient goddesses in the red tent, in direct resistance to the new male god El, later Yahweh. So the red tent represents the paradigm shift from polytheism and female goddesses to the male Abrahamic Godhead. In other words, this is when patriarchy took hold and most of the world lost the divine feminine. Today, we stand at the dawn of another paradigm shift, one that will hopefully rebalance the Godhead and reinstate the divine feminine along the divine masculine. The Founding Mothers asked during this Red Tent campaign, how can women be equal on the earth plane if God is a man in the ethereal plane?
Who is this goddess, whose name has long been forgotten? Who is this feminine essence of creation, this lady with laughing eyes, swishing her colorful skirts as she dances? Is she one or many? Human or divine? Is she eternal or is she constantly changing? Is she within or without? And why is her beauty and wisdom so missing in our world? The goddess may be long forgotten, yet you already know her. She is the mother who bore you, the smile on your sister's face, the grandmother who winks at you from beneath her wrinkles. She is the beauty of the green earth and the silvery light of the moon. She is the flowers blossoming in spring and the ripeness of the fall harvest. She is the mystery of birth and death and the lover who embraces all that lies between. She is you and me and all living things, the incessant manifestation of nature and all its myriad expressions. To meet her is not only to love her, but to be embraced by her love in return. She does not judge or punish, but offers compassion when we stumble. She doesn't want sameness or conformity, but expresses herself through a wide diversity, for all are worthy within her vast creation. Her flowers and fruits express her abundance, for she always creates more than enough. Her song is the song of creation, transformation, and completion, all within a cyclic wheel of time. And she is calling to you, calling you into her heart, calling you back home once again. Home to the goddess.
Thank you so much, Anadea and Gary, for the music to open our heart. Hello, everyone. My name is Karuna, and I serve in the Founding Mothers Peace Room in the health and wellness sector. And my totem is the beautiful, beautiful, welcoming snake. Our guest speaker is a true goddess. She is Diana Kelly, Diana, the goddess of light, who is a member also of the Founding Mothers movement. Diana is an intuitive who receives initiations and empowerments from the Divine Mother. She communes through the prism of Mother Mary and Anna, the grandmother of Jesus. And her initiations of the Divine Mother have led her to become a voice of the Holy Sophia. Blessings, blessings. Diana is a loving and conscious mystic, and she has served as a spiritual healer for 30 years. In addition, Diana is an experienced teacher and priestess who specializes in ritual and ceremony. She has dedicated her life to raising consciousness on the planet and helping us reclaim ourselves as fully realized light beings. Her website is inlightofsophia.com. Diana also is a teacher of the ancient holy womb chakra system. And today we're so blessed, dear Diana. She will lead us in a guided meditation and light body activation. Welcome, dear Diana. Nice to have you here today.
Thank you so much. That was an amazing introduction. I am so happy to be here today to have the opportunity to share these teachings, these ancient teachings that come from India, and to share in the empowerment of women and the empowerment of our wombs to their full potential, no matter what stage of life we're in. We're all very well aware of the power of birthing a child, but the womb in many ways has been an untapped resource for its power. So the work that I'm going to be coming from, the place I'm going to be coming from, because there's a lot of womb work out there right now, but these teachings are between 7,000 and 10,000 years old, and they were written on ancient palm leaves. And the set of teachings is called the Ancient Palm Leaves of India. And they were initially, for like I said, 7,000 to 10,000 years, only given to the saints and sages of India. And then in about 2006, a young Indian guru came to the US and he started giving them, he said it was time to be able to give them to other people as well. And so he gave them just to his close followers initially. He opened an ashram first in Santa Cruz, California, and then he opened one in Mendocino. In 2017, I went to the training and I was in the first class to receive the trainings and being given a certification to be able to teach this. So one of the things that he said, so what drew me to him initially is I heard him say two things, that Mother Mary was the greatest master that ever lived, and her, because of the power of her womb chakra, because she was able to conceive a divine being like Jesus. And the other thing he said was, because women, so men have a womb chakra too, like they have an essence of the womb chakra, but women, because we have a physical womb as well as the womb chakra, it's like having a power object in our bodies. And that this power object would be coming more online, and people will learn how to, through the mantra and yantra practices, learn how to clear it. Because as women, we know that we do take on a lot of energy from our partners, previous partners, etc. And to learn how to clear that womb, which he said is one of the things that Mother Mary and the other women around her, like Anna, like Mary Magdalene and others, knew how to do. And then in essence, they took their womb back to a virgin state. So I know that there's people of all different beliefs, but this is one way of looking at the virgin birth, is that Mary knew how to bring her womb into a virgin state, back to a virgin state, to be able to conceive. So it wasn't, because we hold a lot of our karmas there. We hold our soul essence across a lifetime. So there's a lot going on there, as well as things that have happened in this lifetime. So again, learning how to clear this, right? So the system that he gave was using the power of a yantra, which is like a symbol, like a diagram. So this is almost like a spiritual technology, what I'm talking about here. You're combining the use of this diagram, which is called a yantra, along with mantra, which is the sacred repetition, often in Sanskrit, of a series of sounds or words that together, he said, was like putting gas to a flame in terms of its ability to clear us. And when this clearing happens, we can use it, of course, to bring in high divine beings, but also and for anything else that we want to create. Okay, so this is a really powerful thing. And I find it very interesting that the times that we're in, because our wombs, there's an attempt to take control of our wombs. And whoever controls the womb controls the creation. So this is a really interesting thing that's going on. One of the things that we do, so we have our womb. So people often say, is the womb chakra the second chakra? According to these teachings, the answer is no. The womb chakra is almost like a holographic overlay of the whole area between our navel and our vulva. And it encompasses the first, second, and third chakra. So it's kind of like all of it. And there's a specific point there that's called the Nadu Bindu point, which is about 1.5 inches below your belly button. And that is like a hole that connects to the void. And that is where we're connected to the Divine Mother, to the divine feminine aspect. And we have the ability to pull the energy from the void through that Nadu Bindu point and then out into creation. So if we're wanting to manifest something, let's say like, the growth of the Founding Mothers movement, we can all visualize that energy, we're pulling it from the void, the energy of creation, through our Nadu Bindu points out into creation. And we're creating the movement that we want and the world that we want. So, and again, I was talking about, this is where we are connected to the Divine Mother. So I want to walk us through a womb chakra meditation that will actually help clear our womb chakras and also clear our matrilineal line. So when I say that, I'm talking about our wombs connected to our mother's womb, to her mother's womb. And as we're doing this, if you know the names of the people in your lineage for as far back as you know, you can use them. And then at a certain point, most of us, none of us know all the way back, because we're going to go all the way back to the mother. And when we're back to the mother, we're going to rest in her womb. And that will be a resting and a healing for a whole line. Okay. And then whatever we receive there, and we might just want to rest there, we might receive a message or a mission, whatever it is for you. And then we can walk it back through our matrilineal line, back to our wombs. If we want to extend that, if we have children, if we have grandchildren, we can extend that there and then out into the world. So with that, I wanted to, let's just start by saying the Gayatri mantra, and then we'll go into the meditation. So if you want to close your eyes, you can, to get into the meditation part of this. Om Bhur Suvaha Tat Savitur Varanyam Bargo Devasya Dhimahi Diyo Naha Prachodayat. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So while you have your eyes closed, if you would just envision in your third eye area, place a downward facing triangle there, and just turn your inner eyes up to your third eye, your two eyes up, looking up to your third eye, and just see that downward facing triangle there. And then place your hands on your whole womb, your belly area, your whole womb area. And you can begin just lightly tapping that area to activate your womb chakra. And then connect up to your heart. You can tap in the center of your chest where your spiritual heart is, activating your heart. And you can be tapping them both at the same time, the womb and the heart. And also, although we don't want to tap our throats, just bring your throat chakra into it. Our throats and our wombs are very, very connected. If you feel to, you can let out a sound as your throat begins to release and relax. Om. Now that we've activated those centers, come back to that place down below, back to your womb. and begin connecting your womb chakra to your mother's womb chakra, to her mother's womb chakra, and to your great-grandmother's womb chakra, and to your great-great-grandmother's womb chakra. And back again. And keep going. Keep going back in your lineage and bring all of your lineage into that Nadu Bindu point, 1.5 inches below your navel. And you're resting now your whole matrilineal lineage in the womb of the Divine Mother. We are clearing our lines, the thousands of years of persecution and oppression, and our voices being stifled. We're clearing the trauma. And as you feel to, we can begin to walk back out through the line, beginning with Divine Mother, incarnation and mother, the mother line, womb to womb to womb again, all the way back to our own womb. If we have children and grandchildren, we can also extend that clearing to them as well, especially as this is Granddaughter's Day. When you feel ready, we can come back. Om Dim Ram, Dim Ram, Dim Ram, Mama Kama Chakra, Prakshavana Avaham. That's to complete the clearing. And to keep our connection to the Divine Mother's womb. Om Devadala Rupa Deem Deem Rakshamam. Om Devadala Rupa Deem Deem Rakshamam. Om Devadala Rupa Deem Deem Rakshamam. Blessed be. Thank you. Mm. Mm.
Hello, beautiful beings.
Mm.
It is my very great honor to be here today for this special Connect Fest with we're honoring the goddess and the divine feminine. My name is Ejna Fleury, and I serve our human family and our human spirit and great spirit in the peace room. I represent the water and the air and the earth in that sector. My totem is the turtle. And my intention right now is that we're going to have a time for a dialogue. We don't have a huge number here, so this is going to be very intimate. And to get this going, I want to talk about vulnerability and the heart. We're discovering now that the heart is the center of our ability to love, and the first probably conscious way we connect with our divinity is in our power of love. And we've been conditioned, in many cultures conditioned, not to feel, not to express our feelings. And then with trauma, we close ourselves to our feelings that are too painful. So this is a challenge for us when we need to be in connection with our ability to love, and that love that transcends boundaries. The mother's love, just like in this meditation, it transcends physically, but it crosses through to all of the realms of our being, because time does not really exist. And for our human family, who is right now so full of trauma and being currently traumatized because of the multi-crises that we're experiencing right now, we desperately and prayerfully need our connection and our ability to love, and the great healing power of love, and the courage that love brings, and the inspiration. And even as I say this, I could feel empowering myself. This love, the passion of love, it's emotion that generates action. And here we are in the middle of just past the middle of the Red Tent Week, where we're really taking time to have a place to gather and to remember our womb in all of its dimensions, and particularly in our human dimension and our human body, because the womb has been a place of action toward war. And Diana mentioned about who controls the womb, controls power, and that we women have had this great power in us suppressed. by rape, murder, pillage, desecration of our temple, the womb of our being. And this Red Tent Week is our opportunity to bring focus once again to our true power as women. We're the only ones right now who bring forth our human family. Mm-hmm. And our future generations are depending upon us. Mm-hmm. And so last night, I went to a talk by a gentleman, Kazuhaga. He just wrote a book about fierce vulnerability. And the vulnerability is in our hearts. So for us to deepen into our hearts, we need to be able to bring our capacity to feel and to care, to reignite the flame of love. And the only way to do that is becoming vulnerable by the invitation for ourselves to deepen into our hearts and our wombs and this divine lineage of the motherhood line of love that flows throughout time, immemorial, throughout all of creation, and that actually all of humanity, our earth, or the cosmos, are being born out of the womb of the universe itself. So I'm feeling very inspired about this, because we need to encourage one another and invite one another, not only into the Red Tent now, but I'd like to open a discussion and a talk and a consideration about having a Red Tent movement again. There was a Red Tent movement last century, and it came into this century, and then it quiesced, I think, for a whole variety of reasons. But our founding mothers movement we're reigniting this. So thank you for letting me share with you some of my passion, my care. I feel like I don't want one more person to suffer, one more person to have to starve, one more man to have to go to war. I really would love for us to learn our true nature, which is joy and hilarity and fun and creativity and adventure, curiosity. So what do you all think about having a reignition of our Red Tent movement globally? So you can take the spotlight off of me now, please, and let's open this up from my sisters of the light.
So, dear one, I just want to acknowledge you so deeply in my heart. Do I feel the messaging coming through that it's not in the numbers who show up to receive your grandmother blessing of our indigenous, our plant kingdom, our ones that creep and crawl and fly. We are the given choices to show up. And we have shown up today in Connect Fest to talk about the Red Tent. And the Red Tent and the discussions all week about how important it is to open the conversation. So I thank you so much, because my story, your story, our stories, once told, elevates and brings us to that place of oneness again, so we can commune with the goddess and the divine feminine. As we speak of the fierce courage, the empowerment of what it takes to birth something in the world now that's conscious, that the young parenting of bringing the newborns in are essential. And it's to the story of the mother and her mother and her grandmother that will bring us into that realization that we carry the torch now And we are supported, and we are so full of witness inside of ourselves. So thank you, Grandmother Ejna. Thank you, Diana, for bringing us to this place in ceremony today, a Connect Fest.
You know, my dear beloved friend Molly Arthur, I is here, and we share. She's coming to. We're going to have a red tent event after this afternoon, and I'd like for you to say something, Molly, about your calling to this action. You know, that the founding mothers' action to bring peace, to end war, to create equality. Yeah, thank you.
So it's so inspiring to be able to look at the unconditional love that mothers offer to their children in order to enable peace and beauty in this world. And that's the archetype that I resonate most closely with, is being a mother and a grandmother, and understanding that I was in my mother's body as a potential for myself when she was in her mother's body, and that it goes back and back and back through all time to human beings. And if we can grasp the depth of life giving, and the depth of and the importance of us being mothers and enabling. I was with a group yesterday, and he said, "What if the grandmothers were running the ROTC? What if the grandmothers were the people who were running everything?" And it was just from a man, a classic and beautiful thought. How different would the world be? So I think that's what I hold to, is if the maternal instinct and the beauty of unconditional love is understood by us and is offered within different paradigms of how we can be in this world, then yes, we'll reach peace and love and our own full potential. Thanks, Sejna.
You know, the Peace Room started our talk about continuing the red tent, you know, really sponsoring a reignition of this. And we're going to have a retreat together to see about how best to steward this. I think the red tent for unifying women would be a wonderful calling. I don't think it's sufficient unto itself only. I feel like there needs to be other actions, but I feel like the spirit of the red tent, the spirit of the mother line of love. I always say the bloodline of love,
Right.
because we're both there, but is in each person. And I feel like it's in the fathers too, actually, Molly.
Yes,
you know, and the other thing, Diana, I love that you brought up that the men have a womb also. It's thank you, because we have these, you know, we acknowledge all of our chakras, and then it's so clear that our womb is aligned with the creative force. But the men have this, and I guess intuitively I've known this, but as inspirited beings, because we're more than human, then we all have this on all of the other dimensions, all the planes of our beingness that come all the way from Creator. So the spirit of the red tent, that spirit of continuing our whole evolutionary journey as inspirited humans, and that we don't know what this is yet, and that we're on this choice point. And I feel like it's more about inspiriting ourselves, the divinity that we are, and we don't know what it's going to do to our physicality, because as we discover ourselves as light and vibration and beauty and creativity, what is that really going to do, And the red tent is needed for us to clear, to heal, so that all of these attributes, we can welcome them, because people don't feel worthy right now. I mean, I had to go through, well, tendrils of unworthiness show up now and then, and I just have to embrace them. But mostly that that the love itself is melting all of these false hidden beliefs, but they have to come up for us to be faced. And so I feel like the red tent is one place where we can do this work, and the spirit of the red tent to do this work of healing the womb of men and women and our earth.
I wanted to contribute that for me, the reason I got so behind this being our third campaign at Founding Mothers is because the red tent is symbolic on so many levels. So there's the earth plane level, where it represents the blood bond that all women share, whether you're a mother or not. And in the olden days, every culture had a red tent. Sometimes it was called the Moon Lodge, and women typically would sync up their monthly cycles. So again, it was a place of, they're not in there in pain and whining and woeing. They were in there communing. And the other beautiful piece of the red tent as a ceremonial space is that when a young woman had her first menstrual cycle, she was brought into the red tent and she was treated like a princess, right? This is a coming of age ceremony similar to like a vision quest for young men. And she would come into the red tent for the first time and be with the women and start learning what it means to be a woman. And the multi-generational aspect of the red tent also just brings me to tears when I envision how fun it would have been to be in a red tent with my mom and my grandmother. And I did know my great grandmother. She was alive until I was about 10 years old. And so there's that level. There's this earth plane level to the symbology. And then there's just this incredible spiritual level, because once the Godhead shifted into male monotheism, this was a safe place for women to worship as they wanted. And I think women, even if they tried to beat it out of us. I mean, there were crusades, there were witch burnings, they tried to beat it out of us. But I think every woman knows inside, whether you've studied another spiritual path or not, that there's been something missing. The divine feminine has been missing. And although in the Quran and in the Old Testament, idols are forbidden, and their temples today have no idols in them, God is usually referred to in allegory as the light. We all know that patriarchy took hold. So when these avatars, these messengers of God died, depositing, new theosophies, they all got twisted. And for the last 2,000 years, we've been suffering from a Godhead that's totally out of balance. So for me, a full-throated, heartfelt endorsement that Founding Mothers continue this campaign and provide the global map that went down about a year ago. So we are going to figure out how best to coordinate with the red tents that are around the world, and hopefully revive it and let it become a symbol, not just for our sisterhood, but for reinvigorating and reinstating the divine feminine. It's way overdue.
What do you think about this idea, Diana? Is this the first time you're hearing about it?
Well, I've heard about the red tent. I read the book when it first came out years ago, so I'm very familiar. And I'm very excited. I've been very drawn to it, the idea, for years. I think that we need a place to connect, and all the things that have been said that you both so eloquently said. I just one of the things I also wanted to just drop in here is because Laura, you said when you said something about our throats, or I don't remember exactly what you said, but our wombs and our throats are really connected. In fact, in a female fetus, they develop at the same time. And then as the fetus develops, they go apart. One's up here, one's down there, but they retain a connection at an actual level like that can be documented from science. And the muscles are very similar, they're constricted. So when our voices are silenced,
Yes.
right, often, and I'm just came across this particular piece of information not that long ago myself, and I'm like, oh my gosh, so like a lot of girls have, young girls have a lot of really painful periods, or women in general, but I know especially when you're younger, there is a connection between the throat being cut off or feeling like they can't speak their truth to having that painful period. And so these are all really important things, and these things are just being discovered, in scientifically, and the proof is there for all this. So as we know, women have had a lot of issues with the throat, guillotine, whatever, just being persecuted for speaking. And so it's not surprising that we hold this in our lineage, in our DNA, and we really need to clear it. So it's just something else that's just coming up for me around the red tent idea.
Yeah, it's interesting. I had never heard that before.
Yeah.
I've read about the research connecting the heart to the mind and, these other systems. But that's interesting that there is a physiological connection between the womb and the throat, because what did they do? They silenced us.
Mm-hmm.
And finding our voice again and defending our innate beliefs became next to impossible. My personal path is Gnosticism, and they had to go underground. The first crusade was to wipe out the Gnostics, wipe out the Cathars. And that's the lineage that Mary Magdalene kept going when she goes to France.
Right.
So, I mean, they almost got totally wiped out at Mount Segur. There was a total purge. And in my lineage, the teachings had to go underground. And it starts with Melchizedek, who's sort of, it's interesting in the Old Testament when Abraham meets Melchizedek, he bows to Melchizedek, and Jesus is a priest in the order of Melchizedek in the New Testament. So this is the lineage I'm talking to. You see little whispers of it in the Bible. But what we studied is that the God mind at the top, once you go into a dual plane, as we live in, it immediately splits into the masculine and feminine. So you've got Hokmah and Bina being the mother. And so it was never lost in that tradition. It was never lost in Hermeticism. The very first law, the kindergarten level law, is the law of gender. And this planet doesn't even understand the law of gender, right? I mean, it's just crazy that after this much of our evolutionary journey, we have yet to fully assimilate the law of gender. It's barbaric. So the red tent for me has just so many meanings, so many layers to it. And I've got my red tent dress right now. We're going to do a ceremony after this as well. So, and we're going to make it a monthly event here at Oracle Campus. We also have a church called Oracle Temple. So we already are doing a full moon ceremony. Now we're going to do it in the red tent.
Awesome.
I'd like to, it's okay. I'd like to take a risk here. I was part of a huge, a beautiful constellation ceremony. And I want to tell you the elements, the question and the elements that we worked with, because it relates to what we're talking about. We're talking about the healing needed and the the position that humankind is in. And we asked, the question was, given that the forces of creation and destruction are at dance or at play with us, what are the messages that Earth and the cosmos have for us now? And the elements that we had in the whole display were messages, like messages, Gaia, Earth, the evolutionary force, creativity, destruction, the cosmos, individual human beings, collective human beings, all beings. And we had mystery and future generations. And I want to show you the display. I took a picture. Do I have screen sharing, Corey?
Yeah, you should be able to.
Okay, I'm going to screen share. I'm going to show you the display, and I'm going to tell you what these elements. Can you see that pretty well?
Good.
Someone answer.
Yes, it's fine.
Okay, so this is like the clock, and it represents this system of things that we're in, and there's 4 lines up across, so up above is above and below, and then at the right is the past, and no, above and below, and then 12 o'clock is the future and the pending future, and at the bottom at 6 is the past and the emerging past. And I want to let you know that A is messages. And you see where A lies? The messages lie outside of this system. So the message is coming from the cosmos. And you can't, D up there at between 10 and 11 is creativity. And J1 at 6 o'clock, there were 2 people that wanted to represent J, which is all beings, us, our beings. Yeah, all beings. J1 is at 6 o'clock, and it's outside in the past. It's in between emerging past and the past. So all beings are sort of stuck there. And then the other part of all beings is J2, up between 1 and 2, going toward the edge and by fire. And J1, the feeling they had, the feeling of all beings was like a sand tower melting into the water. So this is representing our beingness. And there's this feeling now of we're melting into the water. And I think that represents this feeling of uncertainty that we have right now. And then J1 up there by the fire is the transmutation, like we're being changed. Fire transmutes. And I want to tell you what H is. H is
And I just want to remind you, we're 4 minutes from the close, and we had some more of the program.
okay. H is collective humanity, and it wants to move out. The person represents, the people holding these places didn't know who they represented, and they could feel this. And H wanted to move out. So we had it move out. So we wanted, our whole human collective wants to move out of this system that we're in right now. Let me stop this share. Thank you, because this is a message of this choice point that we're in. It is so potent. And another important piece of this is future generations did not even come into the circle. So the future generations we're still at a choice point right now.
Mhm.
So thank you for letting me kind of take a risk. I wanted to share this. It's being recorded. So this is sort of like a message. You know, we record these, and yes, we're here now, but some people are gonna watch this, and so it's important that we're
It's going to
sharing.
get posted for sure.
Thank you.
Karuna, would you lead us toward our closing, please?
Thank you.
So, dear ones, let's take this moment and really relish in Grandmother Ejna's offering, Diana's offering, Laura's offering, Molly's offerings, and everyone just come together and recognize that we hope that you'll join us. We have our following our ceremony will end on Saturday and the 17th, and we'll have amazing people like Rianne Eisler, who's just doing incredible work still at 94, and Brooke Medicine Eagle, and we've included, the founding mothers have invited all of you in to speak and to offer your ideas around the red tent, and Deanna Lamb. And please go to the first red tent ceremony on Monday. We have posted that, and it'd be so nice to have you see how we have opened the tent, and we'll close the tent on Saturday. So thank you all for being a part of this. We will also have our website, Founding Mothers website, where you can go and register to host even now a red tent event in your location. It's never too late. Let's open it up. We've included the top 10 list on a direct action of ideas for your local red tent. So don't be swayed in not knowing how to do this. We're able to give you some great ideas and to continue this flow. So let's go into deep retreat and let's come together and close this ceremony today, thanking that connection with the womb and the throat chakra, and understanding that for us today, this is a glorious way to represent the mother in this video. And I honor you all and thank you so much for showing up today. Blessings.
Thank you.
I am mother. I am the miraculous beginning of all life. From me, all things are born. Through me, all things are sustained. I am the fertile one, with swollen belly and pendulous breasts. And the grain growing in the fields, and the fruit ripening on the tree, and the oceans and forests teeming with life. I am the dawn giving birth to the day. I am Gaia, the living earth. I am Nut, the universe of stars. I am Demeter, searching for her daughter, Persephone. I am Mary, mother of Jesus. I am Teresa, mother of compassion. I am your mother, and I am the mother within you. I am the line of all mothers through time who sacrificed and loved the world into being. I am the first leader you ever knew. Leader of my children, my family, my community. And no, I always lead with love, even when I hold my limits. I am a mother, the provider, the nurturer, the teacher, the matriarch. Children, my children, come to me when you need me. Remember me even when you've grown up. My son, my daughter, you are always within me. I am always within you. I am mother, I nurture.
Welcome, Mother.